Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Studio Talks with Edu. Today, I'm excited to chat and have a great conversation with Andy Ruiz, our Chief of Growth. Andy, how are you doing today?
Hi, Edu. Thanks for having me here in the first edition. I'm doing really well. How about you?
All well, all well. Uh, Anxious for this first episode, so we will see what happens. But I'm really happy to have you here because we are not just coworkers, we are friends, so it's a different conversation.
Yes, I bet it is.
So, Andy, tell me a little bit more about what do you do in Loop and your experience in the company.
Sure. I've been working with you for the last almost 5 years now, right? It's been a while.
Yes.
It's been an interesting experience also. I remember how it started like an experiment. Um, Back then, I think we were somewhere around 50 people. It was a time when you were growing relatively fast and moving office basically every year. But I was the first one to join from a different country. So I remember it started like an experiment because I had never sold services or I had no idea what software was. And it was a huge learning for me. And it makes me really proud that after 5 years, we're now here. We managed to professionalize at least the sales process quite a lot and tech and operations, of course, as well. And it became, I think, quite knowledgeable about what we're doing. So I'm very happy that we went from an experiment into being really stable, creating a sales and marketing team, uh, upgrading our roster of clients, being able to reach out to so many new startups and scale ups every year with our services and also our value proposition, right? Which has evolved over time. So basically, what I'm doing at Loop for the ones that don't know is I take care of the whole sales and account management strategy at Loop, from strategy to execution. So I'm the main point of contact. I like to say that I am their friend, and I approach this relationship building like that, in trying to help everybody as much as I can in any possible way, and also with our services.
Nice, nice. You mentioned something really interesting that, first of all, you were our first uh, employee person working with us, our first partner working overseas. And that's crazy because we used to have all our team in Uruguay, but all our customers in United States. You join us working in Germany. How it was for you, like working with us, like far away?
It has been I, one thing comes to my mind. So whenever people ask me what I do and I tell them, they cannot understand. So I have to tell them that I live in Germany. I have a team that works with me in Latin America because it's not Europe anymore. It's we are in many countries, and that our clients are mostly in US and Canada, basically all of them. So they don't understand how this is possible, and this is the magic of remote work, right? I think that we learn together how to work remotely. We build this culture, everybody participating. Nobody knew what remote work was, and I think we were quite quite new in the industry to do this, and we perfected it. So um, it just feels natural now. Like I really enjoy my time alone in the morning, that I can think and I can strategize, and then my afternoons are quite active. But I like that, so it's a sort of a very interesting day work that I have. So a few hours in the morning where nobody um, is reaching out to me and everybody sleeps, then I can think, and then the afternoon pretty hectic and convoluted, and then we have the trips to the US that are a complete different rhythm, right? So yeah, it's like I have two different work days, and then when I travel, it's a complete different job. But it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have also the time. the work and balance where you have in the mornings to take like your mind your mind alone. You can focus on the things that you need to focus, and in the afternoons, okay, it's work time. You have a lot of calls, everyone reaching out to you, uh, but I think that that's the best part of the remote work because
Yeah,
you could find the time for yourself to work and focus, and then you find the time to be for everyone.
look, it's like the 5 a.m. club theory, but I just started at 7. It's very
That's
different.
true.
But there is one thing that I think it's worth adding. Like we were talking about how we learn to work remote together, but that would have been impossible for many companies. And especially, I think that what's more remarkable is that there was a leadership posture in, okay, we gotta make this work. And there are critical pillars that if we don't do this, if we don't change this way, it's not gonna happen. Because our clients are gonna notice, or like we cannot drop the ball, we cannot stop delivering great services. How can we do this? And that shift at a very high level in the company that was okay, we cannot see what people are doing. We gotta trust them. So we gotta figure out how to, as leaders, be able to trust our team and empower them so that they feel that they can bring ideas to the table. And if they don't work, they're not gonna be punished, but they're gonna be supported to get back in their feet again and try again. That was, in my view, like it's something super remarkable and unique of our culture that not many companies are capable of doing. I've talked to so many people who work remote, but they basically have to keep the mouse rolling for 8 hours. And we have a culture of delivering. It doesn't matter if you do it at what time of the day or which day of the week. It's a matter of committing, delivering, and being ownership of those results, no, being an owner of those results. And that is pretty remarkable. And this is something that I'm pretty sure you've heard it from many of our clients. No, they highlight this as something um, different that they really cherish.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point because our clients hire us because they trust in us. They trust in a company overseas. They trust in a company more than 10,000 kilometers far away from them. So if they trust in us and how we work with us, we need to trust in our team wherever they are. A remote team that,
Right.
as you mentioned, they have the values, the quality, the delivery, the ownership to build their work. And I think that that's a key in our line in work of what we solve.
Yeah. Do you remember? I think it was like 3 years ago, somewhere around there. We were trying to figure out who our ICP was. I think it was the first time we did an exercise of figuring out, okay, who do we want to work with? And I I really remember an exercise we did, and this was a like an inflection point for me in the way I approach my work, which was empathizing with our client and understanding their buying journey. So you were just saying these clients of us, they trust a company overseas working remote, who are all relatively young. Well, imagine what it is from the sales perspective when I understood, okay, the people who are coming to us, they don't come to us because we are the best in the world. We are not their first choice either. They come to us because usually when we work with early stage startups, no, let's put that example. Early stage startup, they have very limited resources. Most of the time, it's their life savings. So they come with their hopes and dreams, life savings, probably some family money. So there's even that on top, that risk that if it fails, it's also your parents' money, your friends' money, your whoever in your family money. They end up reaching out to us full of fear. How many times we've heard, I've worked with someone overseas. I work with an agency and it's gone sideways. They never delivered on time. They dropped the ball and disappeared. These things that I remember when we did this exercise of analyzing the emotional situation when clients reach to us, they mostly come referred after having bad experiences through some of our clients. I think that was a turning point, and it also helped cascading that feeling into the whole team so that everybody understands, hey, when we work with our clients, we are their team. We gotta be committed. We gotta buy into their mission, and we gotta leave everything uh, every day when we come to work for them. And we did that in the sales process, but we also did it in the execution. And I think that has been pretty cool. It's something that it's not believable when you say it. It's something that you can only demonstrate after you start working together, right?
Yeah. That's a really interesting point because even when you start the conversation early today, you mentioned like you joined us when we were almost like 15 people, less than 20, something like that. We were just a small company, a startup, three founders learning how to do their job, fighting every day with a lot of things. You join us to professionalize the sales and marketing team, the growth of the company, but you just not help us with that. You help us professionalizing us. It is, you mentioned a cascade after you start to build some things to all other areas. Doing that job, it was like, okay, which is our client target? How we professionalize the company. 5 years later, I'm gonna say maybe 1 year behind, what do? We take a decision of took an industry and professionalizing that industry. So what we are doing today, what's Loop Studio today?
I mean, this is something I remember I asked the first day I started this job that um, I was new to this and I was coming from selling beer, which basically was very straightforward and from a big company. So I came with the same questions that I would ask there because they were obvious to me. It was things like, okay, who am I looking for? Like, who am I going to sell this? And there was no clear journey. Okay, what industries are best uh, our best option? Well, any industry was the answer. Like we didn't have a North Star. And I think after we landed, okay, what type of client is good for us and for our team, which was, okay, let's focus on startups. Let's figure out what can we do to help them go from zero to MVP, from MVP to let's say first version in the market, product market fit. I remember having this discussion with you and saying, hey, we should specialize. We should pick a niche. We should pick a lane. But there was no apparent answer, right? We were a bit afraid of doing a whole website overhaul, just picking a lane, and then what's going to happen with the rest? They're not going to come up to us. We cannot take that chance. So I do remember how last year at some point we had managed to grow to, I think we were around 50 people. But the best thing is that we have had really good experiences and built a decent network that was working, that they were bringing us referrals in the cybersecurity industry, right? And we have a huge discussion on, okay, why don't we specialize for this industry? And there were a lot of questions unanswered there, like, are people are going to understand, or are they going to think that we're going to be doing cybersecurity services? Um, do we have competition on that? I remember doing a whole market research, trying to find agencies that specialize in this industry, and we couldn't find one. We couldn't find one single agency who was explicitly talking to cyber founders. It's a very complex industry because you have the ones building products, the builders, that's our client, and then you have the MSSPs and the service people in security, the analysts, the practitioners, which is a complete different game, and it's not where we land. So I am very excited about this because in 1 year we managed to turn over 30% of our portfolio into this industry, which is remarkable, and it means that there is a good value proposition from us. And the other thing is that we see correlation what we do with them, which is we consistently work with founders who have a really cool core technology. They're very good at developing this, but they lack something that is needed nowadays, which is a really good user experience and a solid front end. So nowadays we've seen how cybersecurity has grown in importance a lot, and it's going to continue growing. Like it's crazy. Like it's going to continue growing. It's one of the markets that is going to grow the most. But in order to stand out, user experience wins. It's what we've seen. It has gotten many of our clients their first checks, their first clients, their pilots. Redesigning their products has turned MVPs that were not performing into products that actually sell. And that's the value that we bring with our team, right? And it's pretty crazy how we have chosen this industry that has a complex jargon. Like but now that everybody has been there, it's more of the same. It's just that we have specialized in solving specific design challenges that many of them suffer, like dashboards. How do we represent all this amount of data to the right people in the right way so that they can really quickly make decisions that prevent them from, I don't know, like being breached, getting hacked by bad guys, like these kind of things. Um, so yeah, I am pretty excited about our future in this industry and making more friends and helping more people grow in this space.
That's something really interesting because you mentioned like when we start to do research, who is our competition, how we get these clients, and I think that happened also that it's a close industry. You need the right friends, uh, the good referrals, uh, um, as you mentioned earlier, to have the trust and to have the good relation with the people, the correct people in the correct moment of this industry. So that's something really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, trust is all. And yes, they are very cautious. I mean, they're paranoid. It's okay. They're working in security. They gotta be like that. But the good thing is that we've met amazing people in the industry who have trusted us and we have succeeded together. Like our best success stories are all in cyber, all of them. And it's not just that they were really cool ideas. It's that cyber founders we've worked with and cyber people in general in the industry, they are highly collaborative. They like people who roll up their sleeves and do the work all together. And that is a perfect match with our culture and the people we have in our team.
100%, 100%. You mentioned something. They are also zero trust, and they say everywhere zero trust. If they trust in us 1%, we're happy and we will deliver as they want.
True that, true that. Yeah. And the other thing, like besides the work we're doing with them, we've been learning from them, right? So
Yes.
if you look at us, I don't know, 2 years ago when we were working with our first clients in cyber, and now the way we're working with them has completely changed. We have learned a lot about concepts like secure by design. We have learned about zero trust. We have learned about secure web development. We are working, implementing OWASP across all our team. We're working with best design practices and accessibility with our design team. And we are going to continue down this path to be as compliant as possible with our clients and with our clients' clients.
That's a really good point, and also it's an idea for a next episode's talk with our operations team about compliance. That is something that we learn, and we heavily learn from there.
Yeah, that would be amazing. There is a lot there. We could also talk about that with our security advisor who has been guiding us and has been one of our spearhead referral partners, right? Opening up his network to us and also guiding us through this learning journey.
100%. And talking about that, about referrals and friendship, and how we build uh, our relations, long-term relations, because we talk about like we start to realize about we have some clients in cybersecurity, how to take this industry. So how is that today in Loop Studio?
That's a really good question. So I, I've taken this really personal. Like I've been learning and I've been trying to adapt the way we handle relationships to a way that I like to handle all my relationships in my personal life as well. So there is something that has always struck me that it's a statement that says serve rather than sell, and that is the approach that we have taken at Loop, which is we gotta build sustainable relationships here. This is not about selling today. It's about connecting. It's about listening. It's about asking the right questions and understand, okay, how can I help the person across the screen or in front of me, depending where I am. And in some ways, relationships have started as us connecting them with investors or with potential clients or with other people in the industry that they can learn of. Or I remember I found myself helping clients iterate their pitch decks. Like this is not something that we offer as a service. This is me or anybody in our team being human and being well intended with the person across, being interested of building success together and helping the one across. The sales come along. So it's just about being there, being present, maintaining the relationship, which takes a lot of work of being consistent, of not being fake, of not trying to convince someone of buying something out of you that they don't actually need. Um, so that's the main approach that I take, and I think that you do too. I mean, in a different way, we're both different human beings, but um, our core values are the same.
100%, 100%. And what we build is trust, nice relationships, and try to not just work, being friends of our clients, partners, our customers. So in that scenario, what we are doing today for the cyber startups?
Okay, that's a really good question. We're we're doing many things. What would you prefer to cover? Like, let's set up a scenario. Are we talking about startups that are at an idea stage or that, I don't know, they have already raised a round?
Uh, they already have a proof of concept and then lied to us what they need.
Okay, that's good. So, first thing here that I try to do is getting to know the people and the idea and try to cut through the noise of what they come to ask us and go into what we really need to achieve in order to ensure the survival of this project up to the next stage. For example, can it happen that they come with a proof of concept and they say that they want to roll out a full product, but then asking the right questions, you find out that they still don't have any funding. So that's a big problem. So it's not about rolling a product into the market. It's about figuring out what do you need to get that funding and what can we do to put you one step closer there. So once you do that, you can trim the scope. And sometimes some people would say that we shoot ourselves in the foot, but it's about being honest and being well intended and trying to figure out what do they really need to get to the next level, which we like to say a lot. So when they come with a POC and let's say they need to raise a round, we start asking, okay, what are the investors asking you to have? Are they asking you for paying customers? Or are they asking you to go one step further after the proof of concept and showcase how the product is going to look and feel? These kind of things are very important. And what has happened a lot in the last year, I guess, last year or two, is that investors are asking to see how the solution is going to work. We have a cyber industry that the investors are not necessarily experts in the niche that our clients are building a product. So a pitch deck not necessarily convinces them, and having something like a high fidelity prototype, mostly like just the UI and the UX that they can use during that pitch call to show them how the solution is going to work, uh, can come with, let's say, feedback from 10, 15, 20 people who would be potential buyers that sustain that that solution goes the right path, that it would be an experience they would love to have in their toolkit. These are the things that we try to achieve and to do as a first project. So for that, we usually run a design sprint. Uh, design sprints methodology created at Google. This is something that we have uh, really incorporated into our team as a best practice to go from idea or POC to validated prototype in a week, which is crazy. And in 1 week, we get there, and then we have added a few tweaks, like iterating on the feedback received for a couple of weeks, migrating from a low fidelity prototype into a high one. And on top of that, we're not just giving them the prototype that they can show the investors, but we're building the fully detailed roadmap on how we're going to build that, how long it's going to take, and how much money they need to raise for technology development, which also cuts through the noise a lot when founders stand in front of investors and instead of throwing a number and we need this much money for technological development, they can show why and they can show that they did their homework. And doing this, it's a minimal investment that they can definitely afford with their funds and some help of their families. It's like 15, 20 grand. And they have what they need to go across investors, sit down and get those pre-seed checks, which are critical to later on do the MVP.
Great, great. That's really interesting, and that's another topic to talk later with another team. It's gonna be design sprints, and it will be good to talk with the product team how they approach that. But as you mentioned, that's something that it helps to our customers to get the funding to grow the projects. Maybe they already have the funding, but they need this roadmap. So that's something really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember we started doing this like what, 3, 4 years ago, no? And it was
Yes,
super
yes,
new.
super
And we didn't
new.
know anybody doing this remote.
Yes, that's the key, how we do that remote, because most of the companies try to do that 1 week in person, a lot of time. Even remote, you need to dedicate a lot of time, but at least you're at your home, you're at a co-work space, whatever you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, you've researched a lot and you were a designer in your early days. Like, what is the main value that you see out of this experience besides the prototype? Like, this is a very intense week of creative activities.
Yes, and it's a lot of work, a lot of learning. You spend like hours thinking with other people, discussing. I think the remote work really helped these interactions because also you have the time to be alone, take a breath, get back to the meeting, and also have new ideas. So it's really helpful. The change, also the tools really help us today. Figma, it was not here like 10 years ago, and now it's like a really useful tool, collaborative, where all the team could use, the tech team, the design team, project managers, sales, everyone could be there, put in their comments, working together. So yeah, it really changed everything now after the remote work.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the feedback we've got, it's amazing. Like, people get shocked how we can unblock them. In 1 week, we can take them from a spreadsheet or a VOC or even just an idea in their head that they have no idea how to start. It's like they have, writer's block. And with these activities that are built for unleashing creativity, we take them from an idea level from zero to validated prototype. Like in day 5, we are testing a low fidelity prototype with real potential users, which is that I am still impressed that we can make this work in such a short notice time, and get this amount of value. Plus, the this is the first step in building a team. The, the our our guys with our clients, they work together a really long number of hours for 5 days in a row, and after that, the the foundations of the work culture, it's there, right?
It's 100%. Something crazy also is like we have clients with more than 20, 30 years in the industry, and when they work in this scenario with us, they are really surprised of the results of these kind of things, and it blows my mind because it's like, whoa, you have been a lot in this, and you're surprised with our work. I'm happy of that.
Yeah, it's something to be proud of, definitely. It's also a nice topic to spread the word about.
100%, 100%. And Andy, do you have anything else to share with us? What we are doing as an agency, next steps? Uh,
It's very interesting. So maybe we can talk a little bit about this year's plans, for us as a company. Like, what are we trying to achieve this year, right? So from a sales perspective, we're betting on building stronger, better relationships. We're gonna be a lot more often in the US, visiting our clients, building these friendships, getting to know each other at a deep personal level, and also getting to know the industry, the sectors, the different communities. We want to become a part of the community in cybersecurity in different cities, like DC, for example. That we work with a lot of people there. We've done great work, and now we want to become an active member of that community. So I think that we're gonna be traveling a lot there this year, spending time there, exploring, and we're also going to be participating of all the major security conferences like RSA, Black Hat, amongst others. Um, but with an experimental mindset. Like the whole point of going to these conferences is to meet people, of course, but it's also to understand how the community works and how to connect with them in a better way, how to learn about their worries, their challenges, what comes next. Because in the end, our clients are gonna be working in what comes next, right?
100%. And you mentioned we want to be part of the community. We have a lot of planned travels for this year. We will be in these conferences that you mentioned for cybersecurity companies. You mentioned that we will be in DC. Any other cities that we will be visiting? Because it will be awesome that people that follow up, that saw the video, where then they can reach us.
Yeah. So we're gonna be also a lot in Miami. We're gonna be a couple of times in Austin, Texas. We're gonna be visiting Canada. We're gonna be in LA. So it's gonna be an interesting year. You and me are gonna be traveling a lot, but it's a good part of the job, right? We have fun doing it. It's stressful for sure. It's exhausting, but it's very rewarding. Um, so yeah, and if there is anybody who looks at this video and wants to meet us, just ping us, and we'll be happy to add a new stop in one of our trips, right?
100%. And that could be another time to talk about how we do business trips. Because most of the people think like, oh, you're doing a business trip to Miami. Oh, that's fine. You will have a vacation. Not really. It's like 24/7 working whole week. Even with if we are friends, we're like every day tired. We're like, okay, another day.
It's every day from sun to sun, nonstop. Being and you gotta perform at your top level, right? So yeah, we can talk about that in another episode. It would be fun to go over our how we prepare business trips and how we measure the success of them.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, thanks a lot, Andy. It was amazing to have you here. We want to do, for sure, more episodes. But thanks, everyone. See you in another episode of Studio Talks. I'm Edu. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you so much, Edu. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Have a good one.